Good afternoon, everyone. Jason here. Today is August 16th, and I wanted to spend just a couple of minutes here with you talking about a 70-point times 2 lots NQ trade that we had here today. This extended our winning streak to 10 of the last 11 trading days. I did not have a chance to make a video over the weekend. We did have a winning day on Friday. Also, I wanted to spend just a couple minutes with you showing you how the market maker levels performed in today's market. So we're going to start there. One of the things that we had that was kind of an anomaly in the overnight session, by the way, this is the CL. All of the markets here opened up today, right at the pit open, just below settlement, right? Where 100% of the overnight structure had spent time below settlement. The CL, most of this session, spent time below settlement there as well. And so just to kind of show you here, all right, so this was the open, the overnight session, that's settlement. And again, we spent a lot of time below settlement. You can see that we did rally up at the end of the day here today. And then, of course, here is the NQ. And this was the high. And then settlement up here, we're fast approaching that level as well. So let's talk a little bit about the market maker levels. All right, so the CL opens right on top of this RTH signal. Now, the RTH session levels form up right after the pit open. The market opens up, spends a little bit of time rotational here, and the fact that we could not make it through the 20 period into the volume weighted average price was a pretty good indication that we were going to be headed south. Now, one of the things that we talk about when 100% of the overnight structure is below settlement like it is here today, if the market does not immediately rally into settlement, then you can expect a bit of a sell-off. And that's what happened here. Tried to rally, couldn't do it, couldn't get through the 20 period, couldn't get through the volume weighted average price. And so the market comes all the way down into the RTH target. But again, that was right inside or right at the top of the zone of influence. Now, as you know, support and resistance is not about to the tick precision, but more about the zones of influence. And on the CL here, we have that zone of influence you can see highlighted around the level. It came right down to the top of that zone and then began the process of rallying, came back, got through the 20 period, couldn't quite get into the volume weighted average price, found support here at the RTH signal, then rotated around the volume weighted average price and began that process of moving up. So the levels, again, giving you excellent structure points here today on the CL. Looking at the ES, another really good example of the market opening up, finding resistance at the RTH mid, and then moving down into and only just barely closing below that RTH target. But again, finding good support down there. And then this market has subsequently just ridden the ladder here, really just walked it all the way up this ladder here today as the market just continues to rally all the way into the zone of influence up at the RTH target 1 and taking out settlement. Once you got down here and realized that the market was not going to get any lower, right? The market came down to within just the other side of the zone of influence here and began this process of walking up. Felt pretty comfortable that you were going to hit that settlement price today, closing that gap and hitting up into settlement, which is ultimately what it did. Looking at the NQ here today, we're going to turn off these structure points here in just a moment. The market opens up and you're going to find, by the way, this is where I get short today. I get short right up here around the top of the developing value area. We did have a sweet spot at 003 half, and that was that sweet spot here on the day. Market rallies up into that area. I do take a stop out up here initially this morning, and you'll see that when you see the trade of the day. I end up getting in short when we could not get into this RTH signal up above. And we got to the developing value area and began that process. We hit it here and couldn't get through it. And you're going to see me get short right at this 07 quarter area. Now, what I was trying to do is write it all the way down into this RTH low, or sorry, this ETH lower target 1. And I ended up getting stopped out on a pullback here, but eventually it got there. In fact, it got a little bit deeper. Now, one of the cool things that we talk about when we start talking about your market maker levels is when you get all the way down into this ETH target 2, that is typically the area that we call it keeping the ball in the yard. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to draw the zone of influence here so you could kind of see that. So this would have been down to 48.75. So it's about right here, okay? So that's the zone of influence around that level. Make sure I have that right. That's 959. Yeah, okay, so about 10 points. And so you'll see that it just really bounced around. It did eventually break down through, but not for very long. And then again, the market begins that climb all the way back up as it's trying to reach out into settlement here as we go into the close today. Rotates around the ETH target 2, finally breaks that 20 period into the volume weighted average price, finds support at the level again, a little bit of resistance, but once it finally breaks, it goes to the level above. And that's exactly what you expect from these levels, is that once the market, if the market can't get to the level below, then it goes to the level above, all the way up the ladder here today. And it was here that we got in on that original trade here today, and that's the trade that I'm going to show you that we got into here today for $2,800 times, it was a $2,800 trade, 70 points times 2 lots, and that will be the trade that you get to see us get into. Now, had a little bit of audio issues right at the beginning, so you're not going to actually, you'll see it on the chart where I get in, and that's the charts that you saw in the trade room today. You'll see exactly where it is that we get in. You'll be able to see when we get to break even, and then of course you'll be able to see the final trail stop on the target that we took here today. What I want you to pay attention to is the P&L that's at the top right hand corner of the screen. You're going to see that I am down ticks heading into that trade, and you're going to be able to see that we made all of those ticks back and then some as we ended the day up here positive at that 2170. So again, as always, I appreciate you spending some time watching the Trade of the Day videos here. As you know, we're going to take that trade, cut it up, put some music behind it, speed it up. You're going to see where I get in, you're going to see where I get out, and you'll be able to kind of see how we managed that trade through. So without further ado, here is that OTG Trade of the Day.